Very special moment. I also would like to mention that as I present this program, my thoughts are with David as well. And certainly is a very special teacher. This particular portion, this is part 2 of Dr. Parks's Yesterday that I had so much fun finding out, and I want to share with you. And I'd like to mention one word. This is for all those who are generous and caring. And I think David certainly is one of them. Because of limitation of time, I'll go ahead and start this presentation. You know, we are all here through yesterday. Without yesterday, I don't think a person is what he or she is today. And tomorrow, we do not know what will be. But today is a very special day. So with that, in time frame, I'll proceed a slide here. If you'll start back there, slide projector on with my tray on, please. Someone will help me. Last several years, I had great fun traveling to see how he insisted I should call him Marshall, but I have a hard time calling him Marshall, so Dr. Parks came to be what he is today. And this is case number 6 of the cases today. So I will study his chromosomes and environment from earlier years. Being in pediatric ophthalmology, I always have been interested in very special cases. And this is a case of a very special human being. I owe some explanation. After the last presentation, Dave will... Thank you. This is Dr. Parks' his own handwriting with authentic signature there. This is where Dr. Parks' great-grandparents met. And I'm going to consult some notes here. This is where William Baker Miller, his great-grandfather, and Jane Marshall met in Jacksonville, a little town in Illinois, at a farm owned by Jacob Strong. He's a cattle farmer, so his great-grandfather was a cattleman. And he met his wife, Jane Marshall, on his trip between Missouri and Pennsylvania, on a cattle ride. If you'll adjust this, this is his grandfather, John Marshall Miller, who was an attorney and graduate of University of Michigan Law School, the class of 7 graduates in 1891. And if you look at his posture, there's a great similarity. And I think Marshall is influenced greatly by grandfather. He's got the smile. I like this picture. And that's where his grandfather lived.
Hey, John,
Okay.
how come his grandfather's house had aluminum siding?
They're just advanced, you know, ahead of their times. It's not like Colorado. Illinois is ahead of the time. This is Stephen Douglas, who was a law partner of his grandfather. So Stephen Douglas, as you know, is Lincoln-Douglas debate. Douglas. And his grandfather was a close friend of William Jennings Bryan, and who also influenced In fact, he has something to do with grandfather going to law school in Michigan. Lafayette School is where Dr. Cross's mother, Ruth, taught. This is old school. Now they have a new building. This is his aunt, Mrs. Newell. Now we're going back to where he started. We'll start from Michigan. It's at the tip of Long Peninsula, starting from the Traverse City. It's a narrow peninsula. The end point is where the lighthouse is, and it's called Old Mission Lighthouse, and that's exactly halfway from North Pole to equator, 45 degrees. And Old Mission is a great town. There's not much nightlife. This is it. That's the whole town. This is the post office. This is also the gas station. It's a grocery store. And this is the lighthouse. Now, that area is famous for cherry orchard. And in fact, as far as some of you know, was born in the cherry orchard, not far from this landmark building. It's a stone wall there. This is the site. The building itself is now no longer there. But I've been told that he was not, he didn't have privilege of being born on the front porch. So he was born in the back porch towards the cherry trees in the background. The homes in that area look like this. I tried to imagine the back porch, and that's probably a similar building at that time. After that, age 3, he went to Ida Grove, Iowa. It's a German town, hardworking people there. And I arrived there at night, so photos are not very clear. This is night, scene of that city. He doesn't have a whole lot of memory of this town because of his young age. This is the structure in that town. That's how, now Charter Oak is where he went to first grade. And Charter Oak looks like this. There's a little creek running through, and it's an interesting small town. And that's about the size of Charter Oak. And the great thing about Charter Oak, there's a lot of mud there. You see that this was about the time that it's 1929, and you probably recall that's the way they used to look. And they do have pavement now, by the way. And the road's paved. It's a beautiful area, actually. This is a country scene just on the north side of the city. If you can focus it, I think it's a little better than this one for focusing. Could you focus back there? Just a tiny bit better. Yeah, that's a lot better. So this is a very beautiful Iowa town. On the north side, it's a simple town. It's got a road to north and road to west, and basically it. And there's a old bridge. I thought you may recall this one. And across that hill, there's an area. I asked if there's any Miller Farm, Marshall Farm, or Sparks Farm, and somebody came up with an idea that across over that side is an area called Marshall's Bottom. That's a name. Honestly, that's a name. So I went over the edge and saw the place. And on the west side, he did give me exact locations, 1 mile west of Charter Oak. And this is about where 1 mile west is. And this is the little creek that probably ran in front of his old home. And to get there, this is what you get. That was my car. And that small home on the highway is probably in the area of his neighborhood or home close to his boyhood home.
John, can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
There was the one on the left there, right? You probably want to know why I became an ophthalmologist. I often tell this story. In Iowa, as you mentioned, there's a lot of mud. But the contrary to mud is dust. So we either had mud or dust. And I used to always have boots on. And of course, my mother ran a very clean home. And something like the Japanese, we had to take our shoes off, or take our boots off when we came in the house. I had a twin brother, and we would always scrap about taking our boots off. And she'd then point her finger and she says, "Boys, if you don't take those boots off, it's going to ruin your eyes." As a result, I was scared to death, and I became an ophthalmologist. And you know, there isn't a thing to that.
Thank you, Roger. Keep focusing occasionally, so I think it will be doing better. After that, this was during the Depression years, and life changed, and the family moved on to Chicago area. This is Cottage Grove and 33rd Street. Right there is a Groveland Park area where he lived as a young boy. And that's where his father worked as a member of this company called Holland Furnace Company, which makes warm friends. And I think it's a wonderful company, a wonderful sign there. And this is a apartment area where I suspect one of these buildings may be where Dr. Park lived. Now it's a right side of track. Track is Illinois Central is within walking distance towards the Michigan Lake. And Miller Park's family from Douglas eventually Stephen Douglas was buried not far from his Groveland Park, within a few blocks. This is one of the schools he went up there. And then Mattoon, he went to 2 schools. This is the second school in Mattoon. Mattoon is, and then we're going back to Jacksonville now. The high school period was in Jacksonville, where this is his last picture of Dr. Parks at the top corner. If you look at the first picture on the corner, that's him. There we go. His signature hasn't changed one bit. There's a football player. And he played end on the football team. And this is golf course. And he played golf in Nichols Park. The clubhouse is still there. This is the college, Illinois College, Harvard of Jacksonville. That's a fine school. In fact, they have 2 schools. There's one boys' school and one girls' school. And obvious choice was boys' school. You went. McMurray College is girls' school. If you'll focus that one a little bit better, there you go, Illinois College. We do have college, Alan, in Illinois. This is Dr. Parks' graduation picture of Illinois College. There we go. It's a college football player.
Parks Inn. Is that like Marshall Farm?
Absolutely, at the end of the tall man there. And this is Eileen, I think, his sister, a class ahead of him. And this is what it used to look like there. At Illinois College, he was influenced by Dr. DeReich, was a biology professor, with a very well-known man. He had strong clout. He could get any student in the Midwest to most medical students, most medical schools. And he was accepted at both Washington University and St. Louis University. This is Dr. DeReich, the biology professor, who gave Dr. Parks Foundation on pre-med. From there, he went to St. Louis University, and this is his class picture. Now, during the medical school years, he worked as a crew member on this ship, North American. And I also have a very distinguished teacher who is in Chicago. I'm sure he would like to have a big ship parked on the Chicago River, but it's not in the same route anymore. But during the period that Dr. Parks was in college, this is a place where his sister and himself worked during the summer and supporting most of school expenses. After that, after medical school, he went to San Diego Naval Hospital, where he interned. This is about the way it looked at that time. Dr. Chuck Like is this man who influenced Dr. Parks to go into ophthalmology. He was EENT man, procurement officer in St. Louis. Now, after the war, he went on to Great Lakes Naval Base. This is the way it stands now, where he met Dr. Moss, and Dr. Moss had some introduction to a discussion with Dr. Parks concerning pediatric ophthalmology as a specialty, and his wife was an ophthalmologist who knew about Dr. Kostenbader, and that's how the connection was made. And this is Dr. Kostenbader from the Great Lakes Naval Base, came to Washington and was trained under Dr. Kostenbader. Now, this area looks very similar to Upper Michigan. This is Maine, his summer home. And he's a generous teacher who invites many of us to his summer home, and this is when I was up there. One afternoon I sneaked out and rented a plane, so this is the view of the entrance to the summer home. He finally learned how to write his name. This is during the visit to the meeting in Seoul. This is my favorite. Okay. This is my favorite picture of the King Parks. This is Parks Farm, unrelated to his family. And you know what that is for those city folks? In Ida Grove, this was actually Charter Oak. I found something in the farm that looked like that. It's a mix of animal product and plant, and that's about the end of this. Today I want to thank Dr. Parks. There's another person I'd like to thank. It's good to have office staff who's very supportive and prepared much of the photos and the preparations. And I want to thank Dr. Parks for all the things he has done with his generosity. I have a small present for him. This is a copy of some of the pictures I've shown him, and I thought he may like to see.
John,
You never did.
You saw the pictures in Korea. If you didn't know that in preparation for my trip to Korea, John made 2 trips just to make sure everything was taken care of. And from the moment I arrived until I departed, I was constantly taken care of in the best quarters and in the kindest way. And he never ends. And I admire you for showing things that I never seen. And learning some of this history about my family. I do appreciate it. Actually, I know he's really late.
His family goes back to great-great-grandmother, comes from Ramsey family of Canterbury in England. That's where the last connection is. John Marshall is the original man who arrived here.
My grandfather graduated from Michigan Law School, came out of 8th grade, went right into law school after having driven cattle for 7 years. Taught, I left out something. He taught grade school for 8 years before he then decided to read law. And he actually went into law at the University of Michigan. And there were, I think you said 7, but I thought there were 8 in the class. And I talked to my grandfather about this, and he said there's only 6 of us living because the other 2 were hung for horse thieving.
Well, here's where the secret does stage 2.